Hey everyone, how are you today? Today we've got special guests with us today. Wei and Wu are going to show us how to make dumplings. So last week they made a beautiful dinner for us to celebrate Chinese New Year, and I had asked them to show us how this week, and they're going to do that for us, which is great. So I'm going to pass you along to them, and we'll get started.
All right, thank you, Eve. Hi everyone, my name is Wei and I'm a student from UMB, international student as you see. And today we are going to make dumplings, which is a really traditional Chinese dish. And here are the ingredients we are going to use. Basically, we use flour to make the dough, to make the wrap, and salt, pepper, soy sauce, and a little bit ginger powder. If you don't have ginger powder, you can just use like fresh ginger. You mice it or you grate it, make it a really fine, cut it, and put into the stuffing. Here is the water, green onion, carrots. The carrots you need to mice it too, and the grounded beef. Everything is very easy. And the first step, actually, we're going to make the dough.
Perfect.
Yep. So basically, all-purpose flour. I use 2.5 cups with 1 cup of water. So basically, you mix them up.
So that's as simple as that, just water, salt, flour.
Exactly. And if you want, you can add a little bit salt in it, or some people will add egg. But if you add egg, make sure that you don't put as much water as right now I put into the dough, because it will make it too soft. You mix that and we make it into a smooth dough. It will take some time.
Now, can you use this dough right away, Wei, or do you need to let it rest and relax?
We need to leave the dough here for probably at least half an hour, but if you want, you can also make the dough last night and live in the refrigerator for around overnight and use it the next morning. It doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter, but yeah, it does need to rest though.
Yes,
so remember
right.
that, everyone, that at least let it rest for a minimum of a half hour. On the countertop or in the fridge, Wei, is there a difference?
You mean this one?
Well, yeah, if you were going to let it rest, should it be rest at room temperature, or is it better to rest in the refrigerator?
Doesn't really matter. Actually, I will just leave it in the room temperature. But if you want to put it overnight, you better put it into a refrigerator.
Perfect.
And here is the dough. I will just use my hand to knead it into a dough. Right now it's like a flake, the flour flake. And just press it. Really easy. If you have ever done any like pasta or you're making pizza dough, it's basically the same. But make sure that dumpling doughs are a little bit harder than the pizza doughs.
Okay.
It's like, it's not that soft.
So when you push your finger down, it should bounce back really quick. Is that what?
Yes, right.
Perfect.
Actually, I can show you later because I have made a dough this morning, so we don't need to wait for the rest.
Nice. So you can do this by hand, or you can do it in your KitchenAid if you've got a KitchenAid, right?
Exactly.
Or is it always better? I always find it better doing it by hand. You get a better feel for it, but
yeah, actually making dumpling in China is more like a family activity, more like an activity than just to make food. Basically, we want to involve everyone in your family to do it together, from making up the dough and then wrap it and then eat them together.
well, fantastic. And that's exactly it. Is food brings everyone together, and it's great. Like we were saying, for food prep, again, we can make a bunch of these ahead of time.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to show you that we have done right here, and then you can freeze them individually. So say that you want to freeze them by the dozen and then take them out as you need them.
Exactly, and yeah, freeze them. When you are freezing them, make sure that you put them separately because the dough, they get a little bit sticky and the dumplings will stick together. So make sure you put it on like a tray or on your cutting board And if you need, you can use any like baking paper or like the wraps, folio, everything, to make sure that they don't stick together.
So yeah, so exactly. Just put them down like this. Put them in your freezer like this. Once they're frozen, then you can put them in the bags frozen, and then you can use them. So it's like an individually freezing them. IQF, like we call it in the kitchen industry.
Yep. All right. The dough right now, it looks like these. It's a little bit dry, but make sure that it doesn't really matter, because if you leave it here, rest for a while, if you get softened, just like this one, I made this one probably 2 hours ago, and right now you can see it's really smooth on the surface. And we're going to use this one to make the dumpling wrap. And for this one, I will leave it here to rest for another hour probably. Yep.
So that'll be dumplings for Monday. So chef will take a try.
Yeah.
Take a try at those. So you'll notice that the reason why we let things rest is to let the gluten develop. So it'll make the dumpling a little bit more springy. You'll be able to stretch out the dough a little bit more, and that's why we let things rest.
Exactly, and that's why a lot of people put a pinch of salt in it, because salt will also help gluten to, I don't know how to explain it. Sorry.
Develop, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So basically, it's like the dough should be like, it's not really after you let it rest, it won't be that hard, but it's just feels like this if you touch it, and you can just like press it, and it will leave your fingerprint on it, and it won't go back.
Okay,
back.
so no bounce.
No bounce. Yes.
Gotcha.
All right, here's the dough, and before we make the wrap, we are going to make the stuffing. The stuffing part is the fun part. Today we're going to make a really simple one with carrots, with ground beef and green onion, and you can put everything you like actually into it. Generally, I came from the northern part of China, and we don't really make sweet ones. However, if you like, you can use sugar or something, but I've never heard of fruit dumplings. That's it. And for this one, this is the meat one. We use ground beef, we use carrots. You can also use some like celery or something to replace the carrots. That's possible.
Oh, and you could add celery and carrots as well if you'd like.
Yep.
Perfect. So it's basically anything that's raw that you want to add to your fridge. So there's no specific recipe for dumplings. It's basically what you have on hand. So
yes, right.
Today we're using beef, but you can use ground pork or ground chicken.
Yes, right. And probably I've never tried to use turkey, but I believe it's possible. And for those ones, the pre-made ones, actually we made them vegetarian ones. That is made of cabbage, and we put a little bit fungi like mushroom in it. And also, if you like, you can also put scrambled eggs in it. So we put the ingredients together. Really easy. Just mix them up. And we are going to season them. First, we salt and pepper. I don't have an exact amount I can tell you to put, but it all depends on how you want it to taste like. Later, we're going to make 3 types of dumplings. Fried one, pan-fried one, steamed, and boiled. For the boiled one, you want to make sure that stuffing is a little bit salty, because when you boil it, the salt will come out and it won't be that salty. So here is salt. I don't know how much I put. I just do it by my feeling. And the soy sauce.
So by the looks of it, he looks like he's got about a tablespoon of salt and about a couple tablespoons of soy. Yes. And he's probably going to put about the same amount of pepper in there as well.
Yes.
But again, like Wei was saying, it's all to taste.
Yes. And I know it's a little bit weird, but if you don't mind, you can taste the stuffing after you have done. Some people will mind if they don't want to taste like raw meat, but for me, I will probably taste it before I wrap them up. So, this is the ginger. Ginger is probably the same. 1.5 tablespoon. Oh, sorry, teaspoon.
So and remember, dry is always twice as potent as fresh. So if you're going to add a teaspoon of ginger, like Wei did, if you're going to add fresh, you can use twice the amount.
Yes, right. And because today we don't have the fresh ginger and the beef. Actually, if you bought them from the grocery store, they are too dry to make the stuffing. So I will add a little bit water in it. Some people will add like egg white to make the texture a little bit special, but I will prefer to add water.
That's just like making a force meat or a stuffing.
And for how much water to add, actually I don't have a specific amount. Just add it, don't make it too thin, but yeah.
So if you've added a little bit too much water, how can you fix that?
Then I will probably just add a little bit more of meat if you have it by your hand.
Okay. You can always add a little bit of breadcrumb too. That could be a little bit of cheating, but if you're on a budget and you've used all the meat you had, breadcrumb would work well as well.
Yeah.
Or you can add mushrooms to your meat as well.
Exactly. And actually, if you don't mind just blending them, you can just mix them up. I promise the beef will just suck the water in. For me, I add probably half cup of water for these, and so far I cannot see any liquid at the bottom, so should be good. And oh, thank you. Yeah, for me actually, I used to use chopsticks to do this, but as you like, you can use spoon, and you can use any tool you got with you. I will add a little bit more water because it looks good. So far it looks not wet enough. And mix that up. Of course, the seasoning is not fixed. I use the ginger because it can help you to reduce some smell of the meat. You use salt and pepper, that's traditional, and if you want, depends on what kind of meat you're using. If you're using like pork, probably you want to add some grounded star anise, or you can add a little bit about garlic.
Perfect, and you can make these spicy too, so if you want to add chilies or anything like that, you can do that as well. So there's no real rule book to how it's supposed to be made. It's just whatever you have on hand, right?
Yes, right.
Perfect.
So that's why we say dumpling is a really, I think it's kind of easy dishes to make because you can use what by your hand too.
Well, then that's perfect. When we were making these last week, you guys told me the story behind why you guys serve dumplings for New Year. So if you can share that with me, because I think that's a great story.
Oh yeah, definitely. Actually, the story behind dumpling, there are many different versions. One popular one is, that's probably 1,000 or 2,000 years ago, there is a famous and kind-hearted doctor in China, and because the winter is really cold, so he was just generous and he made dumplings with mutton, with lamb, and some different vegetables, and serve it to the people who don't really have a lot of food to eat, or who didn't have like a shelter. So it's more like charity work. But after that, people find, oh, dumpling is good to eat, and they make different dumplings and with their family to celebrate the Chinese New Year. It's basically northern China. It's basically a tradition in northern China. In southern part of China, actually, people also make dumplings, but not with the flour dough. They use rice flour and make some sweet stuffing and make the round ones.
I just find it amazing that every culture has its type of dumpling. So when I talked about fruit dumplings, is because you can make pierogies, which is very similar to what your dumplings look like, but it's a potato and cheese filling. But I've also seen them stuffed with fruit as well, like fruit and cottage cheese or ricotta. And you have the obvious your Mexican empanadas, which are a lot like these as well.
Yes.
You've got your calzones and things like that from Italy, which is kind of interesting as well. So.
Yes, and for Japanese, actually, maybe you have heard of gyoza.
Gyoza, yeah.
Gyoza, yes, right. And that is basically fried dumpling, pan-fried dumpling, and they are quite similar to the Chinese ones. I don't distinguish them, but they have a little bit of difference. All right, here's the stuffing. So basically, you mix them up. That's good enough. And you just blend it and feel like the meat is kind of sticky.
So you want to work the meat to make sure that they break down the fibers and stuff to make
Yes,
it
right.
glue together. Okay,
That's right.
Fantastic.
All right, here's the stuffing. Right now, we can start to make our wraps with the dough. And the dough is here. This one is the one I made this morning 2 hours ago. And right now, it looks pretty and ready to use. We get it out of our bowl and we put it on the board. We will probably add a little bit dry flour on it because you don't want it to stick to your board. And we need it a little bit. For this one, I'm not going to use the entire bowl, so I'm going to probably cut half of it. All right, leave these half that way.
Now, can I make this dough ahead of time and freeze it, and then come to it, say, a little bit later?
I've never tried to do that, but I guess it should be possible. As far as I know, that it's not the same with pizza dough, but it's also kind of a dough, so they should be the same thing. All right, you stretch the dough into into a roll. Make sure it's round, it's smooth, and well, I have some carrots on the board, but it doesn't matter. If you want, when you are making the dough, you can also use like vegetable juice to make it a green, or add a little bit different kind of color. That's interesting.
Just like pasta, so a little bit of spinach juice will make it green, a little bit of beet juice will make it red.
Yep.
That's
All
great.
Right. It's basically like these, like you want to handle it. It's in good shape right now, and I'm going to make the little, well, I don't know how to say it in English, but cut it into a little rounds like these. All right, here a little bit more flour, and make sure that you have the two sides nice and dry, but don't make it too dry. You press it into the little round dough, I guess I can say that, and leave it here. You can make the entire dough into this, but don't make too many because when they dry it out, you can hardly roll them. So here are 4. I'm going to show you 4, and basically they are the same way. Right now we're going to make the wrap. I just grab a little roller. It's really small, but I think big ones also works, but when you make it small, it's easier. All right, so we're going to make the wrap. Here is one little piece of the dough, and you use one hand to roll your roller once, and you spin the dough a little bit twice, third time, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you roll it like this until you find it's round and it's big enough to wrap something inside. It depends on people. I prefer to make big dumplings, but my wife and other people, they will prefer to make really small dumplings. You can see those ones. Those are really small. So the dough you make, it depends on how big you want to make it. Generally, I will make it this big. It's like in your palm, good in your palm. And add a little bit of the stuffing in it. I use the chopsticks, but you can also use spoons if you want.
And I realized that a little goes a long way when we were wrapping them the last time. So start out with a little bit, and then as soon as you feel comfortable, then you can add a little bit more.
Yes, and then just wrap it up. Use your finger to press the edge, make sure they stick together. If they're too dry, like this one, they're good. Use some strength on it, and if you want to make it good looking, you can just fold it a little bit and use your both thumb to press it. And you made one dumpling. Yep.
Cool.
Yep, basically it's like that. And I'm going to make another 3 so you catch how to make it. For the wrap, again, it's like, I think it's about practice. I didn't learn how to make dumpling really early. And I didn't learn it from my family. I just learned it by myself by watching some videos. And it's all about practice. Of course, except for dumplings, you can use the similar way to make wonton. You know the wonton wraps? You can buy it in store, and you can also make the wonton wraps by yourself with the same dough. But that one is not rolled out. You can roll it into like really thin wrap and cut them into square.
Okay.
Yep.
Kind of like a ravioli.
Yes, right. So basically, this is a dumpling I made. And you can see those dumplings are not, some of them are made by me, but most of them are made by my friends, and they look much nice, beautiful than the ones I made. It's also about practice. I think I just didn't practice enough on that one.
No, definitely. And you notice that Wei is doing a few at a time. Like he said, he didn't want the dough to dry out. But if you wanted to cut all your medallions out and then lay them out, what you can do is just wet some paper towel or a side towel or a cloth and lay them over top, and that'll keep them hydrated. So when you work with phyllo dough and things like that you don't want to dry out, then you use the same kind of method. But
yes.
Like Wei was saying, if you're just starting out, do a few at a time and work it that way until you get comfortable. Practice makes perfect.
Exactly.
Wu, did you want to show everyone how to make one?
Yeah, sure. I can give you a wrap. I will make this wrap for you. Yeah, you can come this way. All right, here is your wrap.
So Wu's going to show us how to make the pretty ones.
Yes, right.
I will try my best.
Yes.
So while she's getting the pretty ones ready, what we'll do is we'll start cooking a few boiling, and I'll show you what they look like, and we'll get a few steaming, and then we'll turn the oven on, the pan on as well, and we'll get some frying too.
Yes.
Perfect. There we go.
I think dumpling, we have many ways to wrap them. So for a very common one, you just press this one, and now you go 1 and 2. Same thing here. Just go 1, and then you see there is open. Just try to seal it in, and you might want to press a little bit. Then you get those rings.
Those pretty ridges, yeah. No, those look fantastic.
And then they can sit by themselves. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
it.
Much better than my dumplings.
Yeah, no, they're pretty.
No, they're just a different type.
Just a different type. Perfect. So we're going that there's 3 different ways to cook them. So one is by steamer. So we've got this lovely bamboo steamer, but it doesn't have to be a bamboo steamer. If you've got a vegetable steamer or anything as well, you can use that. But notice that we've put parchment paper underneath.
Yes, in case if you stick to the bottom. So yeah.
No in case about it. It will stick to the bottom. I'll guarantee you that.
Yes, we just put them in and steam it for like 10 to 15 minutes. I don't have exact time because actually it depends on what kind of stuffing you put in it. For this one, I think last time we made some vegetarian ones, so you just need to make sure that the wrap is fully cooked. So basically like 10 minutes, you try one, you cut one open and see if the wrap is cooked. And over here, I put several in, and this is a boiling one.
And you boil them until they float, just like
Yes,
we would
right.
say like a pierogi.
Yes, right.
Fantastic.
It's really, there are some tricky things, like some Chinese people, they will add a little bit water in it when they come to boil. When they, after they add 3 times of water, cold water, they said it's all done. So
Okay.
basically, I think it's kind of a way to like count the time, but I never used that before. And I will just keep it boiling for like 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. Just make sure you don't boil it too much because this is made by dough. If you boil it too much, for too long, it will be probably.
Well, it'll start to disintegrate and become really, really, yeah.
All right, so we will leave there. We will leave those ones there to be cooked. And here I'm going to show you how to make the fried ones. I think the fried ones.
We'll turn that up real high.
Okay, real high, nice. So the fried ones, I think it's more common here because if you went to like a Japanese restaurant and you want to try gyoza, they're just making the same way. It's like. You'd better use the fresh made ones to make the frying one because they are more tender and they're more likely to be cooked than the frozen ones. For the frozen ones, boil them or steep them. That's the best way. All right, so we got a frying pan and we add a little bit oil in it.
And I guess this is the best way to reheat the leftover ones. So say if we've boiled a bunch and we haven't had them all, to reheat them, a frying would be...
Yes, right. You can reheat them with the frying pan. And today I'm just going to show how to make the raw one from cooked one in the frying pan.
Perfect.
Yeah. You don't need a lot of oil. We don't have a lot of dumplings here. When you find it's heat enough, I will turn it to medium or low or even low because you don't want to overcook it. So after it's heat enough, you can just leave the dumplings in the pan. Maybe medium. I think it's too low right now. Yeah. Oh, this is too big. This pan is too big for us today. But generally, it doesn't matter. If you want to make like just a couple, you can use a smaller pan and just fry it. Make sure that you have some oil at the bottom of each dumpling. And keep the heat medium to low. Like leave it here for a couple of minutes, probably 1 or 2. Don't overcook it. And let's see here, let's see our boiled ones. Because the boiled ones, if you don't do anything, they may stick to the bottom too. So make sure that you have anything you want to blend them a little bit.
Okay, so you've got to keep an eye on them. You just can't put them in there and let them sit for 10 minutes. Okay. Like anything else that goes in there, like pasta, like anything else, you need to keep an eye and make sure it doesn't stick to the bottom.
Yes. All right. So the rest is just the cooking. Really simple. You just leave it here and you don't need to take a look at it all the time, but just keep it here for a couple minutes. When it's heat enough, add a little bit of water in it. And take a lid. I think this water should be good. See, it's no more than half cup. It's just a little bit.
Now you can use chicken stock and stuff like that to steam if you want to add a little bit more flavor, or do you suggest just water or does adding stock add more flavor to it, or is that just a waste of stock?
Yeah.
So at your knee, you'll find a bunch of lids if you need lids to cover that.
Yep. I got the lid too small. Yeah. It's still a little bit small, but I will just use this one this time. So you use the lid to cover it, and later, when it's heated enough, probably after 1 or 2 minutes, you add a little water in it, and it will steep them to be cooked. Take a little bit of time because I don't want to overcook it.
So this is what everyone would call a pot sticker.
Yes, right.
Perfect.
Actually, the pot sticker is a little bit different.
Okay.
I can show you.
Sure.
So basically, you cut a little bit, a little piece of dough again. The pot sticker is quite similar to dumplings, but the outlook is a little bit different. You want to keep both sides open, so they are easier to be cooked.
Oh, okay.
It's like you still put a little bit stuffing in it, and for a pot sticker, you can just close the top and leave both sides open, because you don't need to flip them when you're cooking.
Oh, neat. And so it would cook quicker. That's
Yes, right. The steam will get into the stuffing, and it will make it more like easy to be cooked. I will leave it here. I will try one, though it's a little bit late. But make sure that you can cook them at once, so they don't get like one cooked and one overcooked and the other one not cooked at all.
So yeah, fill your pan and don't overcharge your pan either, right? So make sure there's enough space for everyone.
Yes, right.
Okay, wonderful.
All right. I'm not sure whether it's good enough. I will use. I will flip one and then take a look. I will flip one of my dumpling. I'm not going to. Oh, okay. It's nice.
Let's show everyone what it should look like. Perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's golden brown, and right now it's time for you to add the water. Make sure don't drip the water onto your dumpling, but put it at the edge of your pot and keep your lid on for probably another 1 or 2 minutes. All right, so before that, actually, I can introduce some like traditional combination of your stuffing.
Sure, that'd be great.
Yeah. So this time I made beef and carrots. Although we said we can make different stuffing as you like, I just said we don't make fruit stuffing. We don't make like a pie or something. We use the fruit, but we use most meat or vegetables. And another really popular one is I just introduced beef and celery. Yes.
Celery, yeah.
Yeah, beef and celery. And when you're using pork, you can use pork with onion. You can use pork with green onion. You can use beef with the radish. You know the
daikon?
Daikon, yes, the daikon radish. You can use that, but use that. Don't chop it like these. Don't mice it. You can just cut them into like little slices.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can also make, let me think, pork and chive. I think chive is not common vegetable here, but in China it's really common.
Well, we use it more as chive is more of an herb. We consider it an herb and more of a seasoning than you guys would as a vegetable, yeah.
Yes, right. And, well,
take a look at these.
It's cooked. Not really done yet, but they're almost done.
And that's what's nice about having a glass lid is you can take a peek.
Have you add a little bit more water to make it cook faster? So It's a matter of time. Just be patient and keep an eye on it. Don't overcook it.
So, anyways, when you're serving these dumplings, is there a specific sauce that you should use or anything like that that we can?
Oh, exactly. Actually, in different part of China, we have quite different habits on using the dipping sauce. Generally, it's just like in any Japanese or Chinese Asian restaurants, people will use soy sauce to do the dipping. And for us, actually, for my hometown, we use some malt vinegar.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it will add a little bit sour flavor to it. It will make you eat more, actually.
So do you? Yeah, I guess so. So do you add the malt vinegar to the soy sauce, or is it just the malt vinegar itself? Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, you can add it into a soy sauce, or you can eat it directly. And for some people who like spicy food, they will add like chili oil. And some people will just add a little bit like garlic, raw garlic, or garlic pasting to it.
Okay, cool. I'm a fan of the sweet chili sauce myself when I'm enjoying dumplings. So,
and well, actually, you can do a lot of adjustment. I've tried to add like ketchup into dumpling, and I love it too.
well, there you go. Yeah. So what we're saying is experiment, try it out. It'll be great.
Yeah.
Those look fantastic.
This should be good. Let me see. It's a little bit overcooked, but still edible. So I think it's good. Oh, see, if you add water into your beef, when you have it cooked, if you get some juice in the dumpling, which is really good.
Yeah.
All right. I will move the pan away from the heat, and let's try one.
Perfect. You put them right down on this plate right here. That looks fantastic.
And probably I will show you whether it's cooked or not. I'm not sure right now because generally I will try it. Oh, sorry. Just let me use this knife. It's easy. Yet you can use any knife. I will cut it. Oh, see the juice.
Yeah, no, that looks fantastic.
And see the inside. It looks great.
No, that looks fantastic.
Yeah. Actually, some way you can check whether your dumpling is cooked or not is just cut it up and see here where is the thickest part. This one, I think it's well cooked.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. If there's no any raw flour like white spot on it, it's cooked.
Wonderful. That's awesome. So let's take a look at these steamed ones. I'm sure that the boiled ones are probably good to go.
Yes.
Yeah, you'll notice that they are floating.
Yes, they're floating.
So that's a good sign right there to make sure that that they're ready to go.
You can take one and also do the same to it and see whether it's cooked. I will grab the plate here.
Yeah, the one you check, we call that the cook's portion, or as someone had told me, it's called the angel's share.
Yeah. And move back and cut it up. See. Everything's going all right. So for the boiled one, I will do the same. I cut it off. Oh, this one is vegetarian one. Oh no, it's not vegetarian. We add eggs in it.
Yeah, so there's another stuffing that we use. So that's the one that had the cabbage, the fungi, and the egg mixture in it.
Yes, right. You can add any like mushroom or different vegetable in it, and yeah, that's it. Ooh. And the steamed one, I think it may need a little bit more time because the steam. Yes, right. And there are more in this pot, so probably we will give it another 3 to 5 minutes. Yeah. Basically, that's about the dumplings. Really easy. And don't forget to involve your family into the cooking because wrapping to make the dumplings is a really fun activity you can do during any like vacation days or when families getting together.
And with this pandemic in your bubble, you may as well keep yourselves busy. So thank you so much, Wei, for showing us these lovely dumplings and a little bit of your tradition. tune in next week, guys, and we'll do something new. I'm not quite sure. So if there's anything you'd like to learn how to make, or if there's anything that you'd like to show us how to make, get a hold of me, and we'll go and we'll do that. So thanks a lot, Wei.
Thank you.
We'll enjoy these dumplings.